Hey friends, I'm Ashley and welcome to Ash's Cozy Corner. Over on Instagram, I asked what you all wanted to see and a lot of you said vlogs, reviews, and ranking videos. It's actually been quite a while since I've ranked video games that I've played, so that's what I'll be doing in this video. In the past 3 months, I haven't really had as much time as I would like to be able to play games, but honestly, there haven't been that many games that I've really been interested in, so in this video, I'll be ranking the 8 games that I have played in the past couple months. Actually, after saying that, I do realize that saying 8 games sounds like a lot of games, but most of them were like 3 to 4 hours with a few exceptions. I'll be ranking in tiers from S to D, S being an insane game that I would recommend to anyone and everyone, and D being a game that I wouldn't really recommend to anyone just based on my opinion. Let's start off the video with Eastward Octopia, one of the very first cozy games DLC that released this year that I purchased. Don't judge me, but I had never played Eastward when I purchased Octopia. You had to have the base game to play the DLC, so yes, I purchased both Eastward and Octopia just to play the DLC. Thankfully, you do not have to play Eastward at all to enjoy everything Octopia has to offer. This game thoroughly surprised me. I knew I would love it, but I didn't know I would love it as much as I did. I had been in a gaming slump when I purchased Eastward Octopia, and boy, did it end that slump. Farm sims are my favorite genres to play, but I definitely don't play them all, and they have to have something special about them for me to want to play. Honestly, Octopia's graphics was what drew me in. I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but I love when graphics look like games from my childhood, but more polished like it should look in 2024. That totally makes sense in my brain. The nostalgia is definitely real. The way they use lighting and decorations in this game wowed me. The aesthetic of the town just kept getting better. The gameplay was pretty simple like most farm sims, but I did want to mention a few things that stuck out to me while playing. Watering crops was the first thing. Watering crops in this game doesn't take 500 years. It was so satisfying, and if you have played Octopia, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Octopia also had both fishing and mining. The mining was done with a drone and bombs, while the fishing was more of a chase the fish and tap top situation. This made both feel different enough from other farm sims, and I definitely wanted to spend my time doing both. One of the main goals was rebuilding Octopia, and even though it is a shorter game, this goal made me feel pretty connected to the characters, especially the 2 main characters, Sam and John. The humor was also very good throughout the game. I was pretty consistently laughing at the conversations, especially with the monkey visitors, even though I hate monkeys. Coming in at around 20 hours to 100%, I definitely think this game is worth way past the $5.99 price tag, but if you don't have the base game, I would even say it's worth the $27.79 price tag if you have to purchase both. I would rank Eastward Octopia an A rank. I highly recommend trying this game. Up next is Minami Lane, a cute management sim I played back in March. In Minami Lane, you can manage a street, choosing what shops and houses to add with a few different color options, and then be in charge of the prices and what you sell in each store. This is a very basic management sim, so if you're newer to management sims and just want to see if you would like them, this would be perfect. The price is perfect at $4.99, and the main campaign lasts for about 4 to 5 hours. I definitely like this game. I thought it was really cute, and I actually beat it in 2 days. A few details in Minami Lane that really stood out to me was the fact that the shop images changed with the recipe. For example, if you change the ramen recipe to have more of something, the photo also changed with the recipe. You can also unlock beauty upgrades for the building, which of course I really appreciated because I love aesthetic things, and the flower shop was so aesthetic when upgraded. You can also pet the cats in this game, so of course I give bonus points for any game that includes cats, just because. I do wish the game was longer, but for the price tag, I cannot complain at all. I will say some things made missions way longer than they needed to be, like having to pet the cats 30 times before receiving the optional checkmark to 100% that level. The game also felt really repetitive at points because there isn't a crazy amount of shops or different things to add onto your street. I would rank Minami Lane in the B tier because the price tag is really good and it does have a creative sandbox mode to continue playing even after the 5-hour campaign. Now, let's talk about Bandle Tale. Oh, Bandle Tale. Complete honesty, I only played this game like 8 hours, which is kind of really upsetting because I feel like I waited for this game for so long. As soon as they announced it, I was so hyped. Bought it day one, couldn't wait to play, started playing, and it did not keep me interested whatsoever, so take this review with a grain of salt. Let me start off by saying the game is incredibly cute. The game is based on League of Legends lore, which you don't really have to know anything about. I didn't, but the Yordles were still really cute and fun. The story was keeping me interested. I really enjoyed meeting the champions from League. Each one had a really unique look and personality. The graphics are truly perfect for my style. Again, it's like that nostalgic feeling, but 2024 quality. I personally feel like the game didn't do a very good job of explaining what to do. I'm not a person that needs a 30-minute tutorial, but I feel like not explaining the crafting system in depth was a flaw. I was having a ton of issues figuring out how to do certain things because it wasn't explained at all. I was so frustrated the first time I had a party and had to cook for my guests. I literally rage quit. Never thought I would be rage quitting on this cozy game, but here we are. I started again a few days later, continued past that, and just felt like everything was extremely grindy. Again, I don't mind fetch quests. I'm not really harsh on games when they have fetch quests, but this one was just so repetitive and the quest took so long. The skill tree looked so fun at first, but also turned into rage because certain quests require you to have a certain skill, and then it stopped you from progressing if you didn't have it unlocked yet. So really, it didn't have the freedom that I thought it would have, which took away the fun of it. Definitely not a cozy experience for me, more so just annoyance and rage. I've seen people compare it to Stardew Valley in reviews, and I'm just like, what? Where do you get that? Please tell me, because maybe I would play more of it. I want to give this game a C because I haven't beat it, and I also love the graphics and characters, but I'm giving it a D. I feel like it had so much more potential, and maybe I'll give it another try in the future and re-rank it. Probably not, but I'm trying to be positive here. Hello, Botany Manor, you beautiful game you. Botany Manor is an exploration puzzle game set in the 19th century about a botanist named Arabella Green, and while playing, you'll discover how to grow beautiful flora while also learning a little bit about Arabella's story. I normally look toward the more positive side, so I know I say a lot of good things about most games, but for this whole ranking video, I think I would recommend Botany Manor over anything. This was probably the most cozy experience I've had in a very long time. Everything about this game was relaxing, even down to the camera and how you walked around at a slow pace, which I think I would normally hate, but it works so well for this puzzle game. It definitely made me pay more attention to my surroundings instead of running aimlessly and rushing everything, so I found way more hints that way. The manor was actually way bigger than I even imagined, with so many rooms to discover that actually had my mouth falling open at how beautiful everything was. While playing through the puzzles, you also find items, letters, and more that bring you into Arabella's world and learn how her life was in the 19th century, and the ending really tied it all together and was really sweet. The only tiny negative thing I have to say about Botany Manor, once you found the clues, it registered the clue in your book, but you couldn't look at it. So just screenshot the clues as you go through the game and it solves the problem completely. The ranking, Botany Manor will be our first S tier because honestly, this is such a good game and I want everyone to experience this game at some point. Next up is Princess Peach Showtime, and I'm not going to lie, this game has some really special memories for me that may or may not mess with the ranking just a little bit. Princess Peach Showtime was the first game that I was able to create sponsored content for Nintendo, and that was absolutely the craziest opportunity, and I had such a blast with it. In this game, Princess Peach takes the spotlight, which of course we love, and saves the plays from Grape and the Sour Bunch. Peach has a little help from the Theats and uses over 10 different transformations in the game. The transformations in this game are incredibly well thought out. Patissier Peach was my absolute absolute favorite because I love baking, and getting to bake and design fun desserts with Peach was so much fun. Another one that really stood out to me was Detective Peach, where you had to find clues and deduce to save the play. I clearly knew about the different transformations before the game released, but I didn't know how different it would be playing each transformation. I don't know if I can properly explain the feeling, but each play felt like an entirely new experience, so every level felt fresh. The gameplay is easier, making this game playable for every age, which didn't bother me, but if you're looking for a challenge, Princess Peach Showtime probably isn't the game to play. One of the biggest issues online was with how short the game was, coming in around 8 to 10 hours for the full game. I will say it definitely could have been longer for a Nintendo title, so that is a flaw and something to consider when purchasing. I'm going to rank Princess Peach Showtime an A rank. This game is so special to me, and other than it being a short game, I really enjoyed experiencing every transformation in the game. This next game has actually been out for a while, but I just got to experience it, so we're going to include it in this ranking video. With 7 different realms to explore and experience, and the best part is it's free across all platforms. This game was really cool to experience because it truly is unique compared to other cozy games that I've played. You start out with a story explaining what your goal is: to help the spirits of your ancestors by freeing them to return home. You'll spend your time exploring and flying around beautiful landscapes, lighting candles, freeing spirits, and making friends. In my experience playing Sky, the other players were so helpful to new players, called Moss. This is a perfect game to make friends and experience the worlds together, but if you're not into that, you can of course play solo, no problem. Sky gave me the most peaceful feeling while playing, except while in Eden. This is in no way a bad thing, but I actually fell asleep while playing Sky because I felt so at peace. I also played this game solely on the Switch through my entire first playthrough, and I had no issues at all, and it just proved to me how beautiful games can be on the Switch. I also love that there are free updates and new seasons throughout the year. The gameplay is really simple as well. The only issue I had is that just because it was so simple, I think my brain was way overthinking everything, and I wish there were just a few explanations for why you're doing certain things. Of course, I think that was just a me problem. Sky Children of the Light is an A rank for me. I just can't put it any lower than that because 1, it's free, and 2, it's absolutely beautiful. Little Kitty Big City is next, and this is pretty comparable to Untitled Goose Game. It's an exploration game where you play as a cutie little black kitty who gets lost in the big city, and of course you have to find your way back home. But before going home, in typical cat fashion, you need to cause some chaos. I had an absolute blast playing through this one, laughing through the entire game. Every animal you met in the city had hilarious dialogue, which I'm all here for. The actions of the cat in game was so accurate to every cat I own. If you step in water, the cat screams and jumps backward. If you're high up somewhere and there's an item there, there's always an option to knock it off, which of course was my favorite thing to do. When you fulfill the quest of the funny animals, you could also get emotes as rewards, one of them being Big Stretch, and if you're a cat owner, you know that's one of the cutest things that a cat can do. The quests were also super fun. They didn't really feel fetch questy to me, partly because of all the humor, but also I feel like all of the quests were completely different based on the animal asking. There's one quest in particular that will stick out of my brain rent-free for years, where you have to find ducklings, and spoiler alert, there was a duckling in the freaking dryer in the laundromat. And yes, you actually have a conversation with this duck while it's spinning around in the dryer, and I was freaking cackling. Also, something that was added that nobody knew we needed: the hats. Those were precious, and every single time I found one, I was so happy. For the negatives, the game does run a bit slow on the Switch in my opinion. I did play the demo on the PC, but that was a while back, and I can't remember if that's just how the game runs or not. But other than that, I didn't really have any other issues. It's also a bit shorter for the price tag, coming in at around 3 to 4 hours to finish, and like 7-ish hours to collect everything. Honestly though, this was just pure joy overall, and I really don't have any complaints. complaints. Little kitty, big city. I'm gonna rank it way up top in S rank. Of course, you all knew I would. This isn't surprising at all, coming from a crazy cat lady who owns 5 cats. And last on this list, Garden Life. This is a relaxing gardening simulator where you can create a dream garden with plants and decor in a community spot. It has 2 modes, story mode and creative mode. I personally only played story mode, so that's what I'll be ranking. I started playing this game on Steam Deck because I was a little scared how it will play on Nintendo Switch, and I'm definitely glad I chose the Steam Deck after seeing gameplay from the Switch. However, I'm still not very impressed with the game on the Steam Deck either. I had to lower the quality of the game so it wouldn't lag from the base settings, and even with the lower quality, my Steam Deck got so hot so quickly playing this. There was also a flower limit, which was really sad because the garden is so big, but you could only fill up about half of it, if that, before you can't place anymore because of the limit. Based on the description, I thought the plants would be so much more in depth to take care of, but other than having to have a trellis for some plants, I couldn't really find anything to do other than water them to make them grow, as well as the weed system. The seasons also didn't matter for the plants as they stayed bloomed during the winter, which was a little odd for me, but whatever. I actually really hate being negative about games, so this is actually hurting me. There are fun aspects of the game, don't get me wrong, but it definitely needs some work. I did love that you can place any of the decorations or plants anywhere without any restrictions, and even with the quality lowered, the game really was still beautiful. The game is also not rushed at all, so you can go at your own pace, fulfilling all of the requests in the story, which was nice. I'm gonna rank Garden Life a C. I guess I was just expecting more after playing. There are tons of good reviews on Steam for Garden Life, so if you've been interested in it, please go check those out so you can get both sides of opinions. Same for any game I rank, good or bad. Wow, that is it for this ranking video. I just talked a lot, so now I'm gonna go play a cozy game so I can rank more sooner than later. Let me know what cozy games you've played recently and what you think about them, or let me know if you think I'm completely wrong about any of my opinions in the comment section below. I love having conversations with you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a cozy day and God bless.